The political confrontation unfolding in Washington over U.S. military action in Venezuela has exposed deep fractures inside the American government, revealing tensions between Congress and the White House, divisions within the Republican Party itself, and a broader constitutional debate over who truly holds the authority to take the nation to war. What initially appeared to be a rare bipartisan attempt to reassert congressional war powers quickly collapsed under intense political pressure, procedural maneuvering, and direct intervention from President Donald Trump and his allies. The result was not only the effective death of a Senate resolution aimed at curbing further military action in Venezuela, but also a stark reminder of how fragile congressional oversight can become during moments of international crisis. The controversy traces back to the dramatic and unprecedented U.S. military operation carried out on January 3, when American forces bombed Caracas, the capital of Venezuela, and seized the country's sitting president, Nicolas Maduro. The operation stunned the international community and raised immediate questions about its legality under both U.S. and international law. While the Trump administration framed the action as a necessary strike against an illegitimate regime and a threat to regional stability, critics in Congress argued that the president had acted unilaterally, bypassing the constitutional requirement for congressional authorization of military force. In response, a bipartisan group of senators moved quickly to introduce a war powers resolution designed to halt further hostilities in Venezuela unless explicitly approved by Congress. The resolution was sponsored by Democratic Senator Tim Kaine of Virginia, a longtime advocate for reclaiming congressional authority over war-making, and co-sponsored by Republican Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky, who has consistently opposed unchecked executive military power regardless of which party occupies the White House. Their alliance signaled that concerns about the Venezuela operation cut across party lines, uniting lawmakers who rarely agree on matters of foreign policy. Under the War Powers Resolution of 1973, Congress retains the authority to direct the removal of U.S. forces from hostilities not authorized by legislation or a formal declaration of war. The Kaine-Paul measure sought to invoke these powers, arguing that the president's actions in Venezuela exceeded his constitutional authority. Initially, the effort gained surprising momentum. On January 8, 5 Republican senators broke with President Trump and voted to advance the resolution. Alongside Paul, Senators Todd Young of Indiana, Susan Collins of Maine, Lisa Murkowski of Alaska, and Josh Hawley of Missouri joined Democrats in pushing the measure forward. Their vote sent shockwaves through Washington, suggesting that resistance to Trump's Venezuela policy might be stronger than anticipated. However, the White House reacted swiftly and aggressively. Administration officials launched an intense lobbying campaign aimed at peeling away Republican support for the resolution. Senior officials held private meetings with wavering senators, offering reassurances about the scope, duration, and objectives of U.S. military involvement in Venezuela. At the same time, President Trump escalated the pressure publicly, using his platform to issue thinly veiled threats against lawmakers who dared to oppose him. In a statement that reverberated across Capitol Hill, Trump warned that senators who supported the resolution should never be elected to office again, a message widely interpreted as an endorsement of primary challenges and political retaliation. The pressure campaign proved effective. Senators Josh Hawley and Todd Young ultimately reversed their positions, announcing that they were now satisfied with the administration's explanations and would no longer support the War Powers Resolution. Their decision underscored a recurring dynamic of the Trump era. Initial expressions of independence by Republican lawmakers often give way to party unity when confronted with direct presidential intervention. Despite this reversal, Senators Paul, Collins, and Murkowski remained defiant, continuing to support the resolution even as Trump personally attacked them. The procedural battle came to a head on January 14, when Senate Republican leaders employed a maneuver designed to neutralize the resolution despite special rules intended to guarantee votes on war powers measures. The vote resulted in a tie, an outcome that would normally keep the resolution alive. Instead, Vice President J.D. Vance, exercising his constitutional role as President of the Senate, cast the tie-breaking vote, effectively killing the measure. The outcome represented a decisive victory for the White House and a crushing defeat for lawmakers seeking to reassert congressional authority. President Trump wasted no time in celebrating the outcome and punishing dissent. During a speech on January 13, he lashed out at Republican senators who had opposed him, branding Rand Paul a stone-cold loser and dismissing Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski as disasters. Such rhetoric marked a sharp departure from traditional intra-party disagreements, reflecting a political environment in which loyalty to the president often outweighs institutional norms or constitutional concerns. Despite the insults, Paul, Collins, and Murkowski held their ground during the final vote, reinforcing their reputations as among the few Republicans willing to publicly challenge Trump. The Senate drama unfolded against a backdrop of broader instability within the Republican Party. In the House of Representatives, Speaker Mike Johnson has struggled to maintain discipline among a shrinking GOP majority. Attendance problems, internal disagreements, and mounting pressure ahead of the midterm elections have complicated efforts to advance the party's legislative agenda. The Venezuela debate has only intensified these challenges, highlighting the difficulty of balancing loyalty to a powerful president with the constitutional responsibilities of Congress. Beyond the immediate political consequences, the failure of the War Powers Resolution carries profound implications for American democracy and foreign policy. By successfully blocking the measure, the Trump administration has reinforced a precedent in which presidents can initiate significant military actions without meaningful congressional oversight. Critics warn that this erosion of legislative authority risks normalizing unilateral warfare, weakening the system of checks and balances that lies at the heart of the U.S. Constitution. Supporters of the president argue that decisive action was necessary in Venezuela, portraying the Maduro regime as a destabilizing force tied to corruption, human rights abuses, and hostile foreign powers. From this perspective, congressional resistance is seen not as principled constitutional defense but as dangerous obstructionism during a moment of crisis. Yet even some lawmakers who accept the administration's assessment of Venezuela have expressed unease about the manner in which military force was employed, fearing that short-term victories could come at the cost of long-term institutional damage. The international response to the U.S. action in Venezuela has further complicated the picture. Allies and adversaries alike have questioned the legality of the operation and its implications for global norms. The kidnapping and arrest of a sitting head of state, combined with aerial bombardment of a capital city, represent actions with few modern precedents. Legal scholars have debated whether such moves violate international law, while diplomats warn that they could invite retaliation or set dangerous examples for other nations. Inside the United States, the episode has reignited debate over the relevance and effectiveness of the War Powers Resolution itself. Enacted in the aftermath of the Vietnam War, the law was intended to prevent presidents from dragging the country into prolonged conflicts without congressional consent. Yet successive administrations of both parties have found ways to circumvent or ignore its provisions. The collapse of the Venezuela resolution suggests that, absent stronger political will, the statute may offer little real restraint on executive power. For Senators Kaine and Paul, the outcome represents a sobering reminder of the limits of bipartisan cooperation in an era of intense polarization. Despite their ideological differences, both lawmakers framed the resolution as a defense of constitutional principles rather than a referendum on Trump's foreign policy. Their failure to secure its passage underscores how difficult it has become to separate institutional concerns from partisan loyalties. As the midterm elections approach, the political fallout from the Venezuela episode is likely to linger. Trump's threats against dissenting Republicans signal that foreign policy disagreements may become campaign issues, with loyalty to the president serving as a litmus test for party support. At the same time, Democrats are expected to highlight the episode as evidence of what they describe as authoritarian tendencies within the administration. In the broader historical context, the battle over Venezuela may be remembered less for its immediate military outcomes than for what it revealed about American governance in the Trump era. It exposed a Congress struggling to assert itself, a president willing to use both procedural tools and personal attacks to maintain control, and a political system increasingly defined by confrontation rather than compromise. Whether future lawmakers will revisit the question of war powers with greater resolve remains uncertain, but the events of January have already left an indelible mark on the balance of power in Washington.